listeners from around the world, from around the globe, or in the local economy, wherever you are. My name is Patrick Pac-Man Perez. I'm your co-host today on Life and In Between podcast. Whether you are drinking your iced, tall, non-fat, no-foam latte, or you just have your very own home-brewed community coffee, thank you for joining us. We have a very special podcast today because we're going to bring the power, and you'll see why here shortly. But let me hand it over to the powerful Diana Gonzalez-Lehboub.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to Life and In Between. I am so excited and I am so thrilled because, Patrick mentioned powerful. We have a powerful woman here on board. Well, two powerful women, but I'm really focusing on Hilary today. Hilary is a very powerful woman. She is not only a mentor, she's a writer, she's a public speaker. I mean, the list goes on, and it's mainly you focus on recovery. And you've been doing this for like over 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I want you to tell us a little bit more because I mean, you have layers and layers and layers, Hilary. So, can you tell our listeners a little bit more about you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, you guys. I really appreciate it. It's funny because when people say, "Tell me a little bit about you," and when you get older, I'm this matured, hello, gray-haired woman. But when you get older, your life becomes not just linear. There's layers and layers, parallel lives of how many different stages you've gone through. Like when you're in your 20s, you're like, I'm gonna be an actor, I'm going to be a doctor, and then that's it. You like pause out. But as I get older, I've learned that there's so many different layers to me that God has given me so many unbelievable gifts that I've been also given the gift of curiosity and the gift of fear removed from me to go after things that I thought were never possible. And as a result of that, I have so many different lives. I'm beyond a cat. I'm beyond a cat at this point. But so I grew up, a little bit about me. The first section of my life, I always say one to seven was, when you're born, God gives you, and I talk God a lot because it doesn't matter what phase or what name you call it. There's a supreme being that is obviously made this place and created us out of a little frequency of it, him, that. And as a result of that, I get excited when I know it's in me because then I know anything is possible. And when you're born, you're given this gift of no fear. You have two fears. I'm not going to get fed and loud noises. Babies are always like, they hear something, there's noises, they freak out. And if they think they're not going to get fed, they freak out. And then from there on, every other fear is given to us by our mother, our father, the school teacher, our kids at school, and what have you. And at being a good little receiver, because God created me to receive, God is the giver, I'm the receiver, I take everything on. My mother gives me her fears. My father gives me his fears. The kids at school, they place their fears or their parents' fears on you, and you just suck it up because I'm a receiver. And over the years, I've learned how to say no, thank you. And that's what's created me a human being instead of a human doing. Nice. So when I was a little kid, I was given this gift of wonder. I was always excited. It took me 5 hours to get to kindergarten because I wanted to pick all the flowers. I wanted to talk to the horses and what have you. So I was given this great gift of wonder, which later I ended up squashing because other addictions kicked in the way. But so anyway, I grew up with this mother who was raised in New York City, and she was a Jackie Gleason girl. So she was like, and here's Jackie. And she was a beautiful model. So I grew up around this beautiful, only child, elite, grew up in New York City, had, chauffeured in a limousine to school. And my grandfather was, ran for Senate and that type. And then she met this handsome man called my father who put himself through West Point. And she went to Barnard College, AKA Columbia. And they met each other and they decided, oh my God, we're so I used to say they used to drink, fight, and you know what, 7 kids later. And so they end up having this passionate, which is when you're young, you want this, you want the passion, but it was all based on one side of the triangle, which was body. There was no connection spiritually, there was no connection mentally. It was all about the sex, which is what we go after today. Well, I'll talk a little bit about that later. But so my parents met and they drank, fight, and you know what, and they had all these kids. And my mother gave up her career as being a model and really resented it. When you're a narcissist and you have to give something up, someone pays. So she had all these children. She thought, I'm going to have my kids become famous because then I can vicariously live through them. And she would say things, you're nothing because of me. You're getting these jobs because they want to talk to me. So I learned at a very young age to fear not getting enough, fear not being enough, fear not being smart enough, pretty enough. I won't get that job. My mother used to say things like, your brothers and sisters are going to starve if you don't get this commercial. And I was like, oh my God. So at 5 and 6 years old, I was like, oh my God, I got to take care of the family. I don't even know what that feels like. But all of a sudden, this little girl that was happy, joyous, and free, nothing bothered her, picked flowers, was now afraid of everything. I was afraid mom was going to be mad. If I don't get it, she's going to drink more. If my brothers and sisters starve, they're going to die and it's going to be my fault. So I start taking on the fear and the anger and the disappointment of everybody around me. Now, when you're exposed to a traumatic situation, which is pretty much what I do coaching in, we all have trauma. We all have stuff happen. Shit happens. It's like when there's an earthquake, the plates move. Well, my internal plates shifted drastically as a young kid. And I kept trying to figure out, how do I get back home? There's my home. What's my home? How do I get back to God? I'm shaken off because in the world that I'm in, nothing feels real anymore. I can't pick flowers because I'm going to be in trouble if I don't get to school on time. And if I don't say the right thing, and if I don't smile and look cute, I'm not going to make this job. And so I start living now this subservient, maskful life of like, I gotta. I'm in constant fear. Now, in trauma, we have 4 responses to a traumatic event. I stick to 3. I keep it as simple as possible because I help the people I work with and I coach with and mentor stabilize themselves. But you either become a people pleaser, the kid at school that's always like, oh, I got the answer, I got it, right? Teacher's pet. You become the loner, the one that sits on his phone and doesn't talk and reads a book. Or these are all trauma responses. Or you have the controller. We call that the bully boy, the one that's always hitting people and calling them names. So there's that 3 type. Remember, that triangle is very paramount in all our areas: body, mind, spirit. Push, a controller, a people pleaser, a loner. So I pick the one that falls best into my lifestyle. I become a people pleaser. And I'm not living to be in the day that I'm in. I'm living to make sure you're okay. Because if I please enough and if my environment's safe, then I can get back to Hilary. I get back to that feeling of tranquility, safety, protection. That's where God lives. But I'm so struck by my outside life. And we looked at what happens in war, it happens in family dynamics, when there's alcoholism, when there's physical abuse, when there's sexual abuse, when there's any kind of moving and shifting, parents who move all the time, or they have money and they go broke. These are all simple events that shake us off our plates. And we don't know how to get back to that home, which is in here, because I'm outside making sure I'm ready for Freddie. Here's my trauma response: live or die, black or white. That polarity that we're in constant trying to figure out, how can I be safe? How can I be safe? And so I grow up in this frequency, and I don't even know it's shifted. All I know is I'm in survival mode. Live or die. What am I going to do to survive today? So I become the people pleaser. I do all these commercials, and now I'm dealing with a narcissist, alcoholic mother who's beating us and not feeding us and showing us that who's the boss. She would say things like, well, you've eaten enough this week. And it's like, oh my God, you can't tell people that, because here on the outside, we look like the Kennedy family. And if you look good, doesn't that mean everything's good? Here's another illusion of trauma, that everything on the outside, if you have everything perfect, then I'll be all right. So my funnel's so on backwards at such a young age. I don't even know that I'm not even living. I'm just in this like reptilian survival mode if I just got to make sure everything's okay. So I grew up in this life, and I've got brothers and sisters, and they make fun of me, and we're friends, and we laugh at my mother. We used to call my mother Satan. So she was crazy as a light post. And the crazy thing is, here's the craziest part. I don't have any ill feelings for my mother at all. I love her because she was so perfect in creating me. And if I didn't have all these ouches, these hurts, this trauma, I've learned how to look at trauma as a gift instead of a curse. It has been the most incredible gift. Not only do I get, am I discerning? Am I sensitive? Am I resilient? Am I strong? But I'm also empathetic. And I can see and I can look at people and go, I get it. I get it. Because I have a connection. And if I didn't have this explosion, the debris falling down, I mean, you think of as much as I hate war, there's gifts in everything. War brings everyone together. Interesting. As bad as it is, it also tears us apart. So it's up to us to go, what vein are you going to go after? What vein are you going to go after? So here I am in this crazy family, and I'm, good girl, good girl, good girl. And then I realized my mother's stealing everything. She's not saving any of my money. I find a bank statement at 11 years old that all the money had been drained out of my account. My mother said, well, it's my money. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be born. So now I'm learning I'm not enough. I have to earn love. I have to give in order to have a place in this world. And it's up to you to let me know if I'm okay. So here I am from 5 until 11 years old, which are the most informative years. I'm developing this character called Hilary, who's terrified of everything. But if you say, how are you doing today? I go, I'm great. Everything's great. I learned to put a mask on. There's my protection. I live in a lie. I live in my own secret. I don't want to let you know what's going on because I look good and I'm making commercials and I'm doll voices and I'm on print ads and everybody's acknowledging me and I'm like, yeah, it's great. I love it. And inside I'm going, I just want to leave. I want to run. But I got to people please. And then around 11 and 12 years old, when I found out the money was missing, I switched my role. I became the loner. Now I'm running away from home. Now I'm disappearing. My mother would say, oh, Hilary and her famous disappearing acts, because I feel power. I felt power in people pleasing. That stopped working. I felt power in being a loner, disappearing, fighting back. I'm building this huge character based on terror. I'm afraid all the time, but you'll never know it because I know how to put the mask on. I'm an actress. I was raised to shut up and just be what you're supposed to be, which sounds great. And you see these kids that go, oh, I want to be an actor. And I go, just go pretend you're playing cops and robbers. Pretend you're the queen of the hill. Just stay in your imagination. Don't become somebody. Just play in your imagination. That's the gift that God gave us. And so I end up becoming a loner. I start running away from home. And then I crossed over I found drugs and alcohol. I didn't find drugs and alcohol because I wanted to get high. I felt they call alcohol a spirit for a reason. I take on a new identity. And I hated Hilary. I hated her. I remember starving myself because I just wanted to disappear. I was telling my husband the other day, I was saying, at a very young age, I used to really think about things and I'm going to be somebody else. I didn't even know I was working on my manifesting powers because I thought that if I thought really strong, I could catapult and be another human being. I could jump parallel lives just like that. But what kept happening is they kept solidifying how much I hated myself, hated myself. And what you think about, you bring about. So everybody reflected that. I brought in people that took advantage of me. I thought the only way that anyone would like me is if I gave them money. I gave them my things because I was so raised in perform, give, please, fix your outsides, and then you'll be okay. And so here I am. I find this spirit called alcohol. And I didn't want to get high. I just didn't want to be this spirit because I had failed everybody around me, be people pleaser, loner, controller, and I'm trying to make sure everything's okay. Is the house okay? Is everything perfect? Does it look clean? That's my way of controlling my outsides because my funnel is so on backwards. I think what I'm seeing is me, but it's just a mere reflection of what I'm projecting. I have no clue. I just think if I fixed everything on the outside, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. And thank you, God, for giving me the gift of smashing my illusions, helping me hit bottom on what I think, feel, act, taste, touch, all my feelings. I had to surrender them all. But I didn't get to do that until I was done. So I find drugs and alcohol, and all of a sudden, good girl turns bad. I start telling my mother to, F off. And, she's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm power now because now I'm a controller. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to let you take advantage of me. And so, I got tired of her beating me up. So I started hitting her back because I was abused, physically abused, and emotionally and mentally. And I was just tired. I hit bottom on being taken advantage of. But I had no skills to communicate or grow or learn. All I knew was go after, go after. And I see so many kids that they don't learn how to talk and work things out and reason things out. They just either go dormant or they become psychotic. You see the kids beating up other kids and stealing. It's like, what happened? It's that pendulum of trauma. Live, die, good, bad. The polarity, the duality is just so drastic. And so I end up, my mother hits me and I turn around and I hit her back. And that was it. I was arrested for assault and battery. Before that, I had been arrested for robbery because I thought I needed things at the department store and I deserved them. And I didn't deserve them. I think I needed to take it. So I got arrested for robbery, and good girl totally turns bad. I'm in and out of high school. I went to, 7 high schools, ninth grade, never graduated until I was 28 years old. And so what ended up happening is this good girl turns bad. I ended up going to juvenile hall, and I told my parole, my PO, I was like using that, it sounds so decadent, my PO, I told him I was never going to go home again. I was going to run away again because that's all I did is run and run. I used to say moving. I was born with Nikes, moving targets don't get hit. The more I leave, if I can't get connected to you, because then you'll find out who I know I am, which is not worthy. And God abandoned me. There was no God. I would pray and say, God, please, if you love me, kill mom and dad. And it never happened. And so my Santa Claus belief of God was like, guess God doesn't love me. Oh, well, who cares? And about 12 years old, my voice changed and I lost the job of being Sally. And there was a part of me that thought I was gone because I had put so much emphasis on being this character, and now the character was given to somebody else. And I didn't know where I belonged. So I went self-destructive. You think living in that in the spotlight and doing that stuff is a gift. It actually became my biggest curse. But later on, it became my biggest gift. It's had to go through the cycles of that. But I ended up I left home and I said I went to juvenile hall and I told them that I was never going to go home again. And they said, well, if you find a foster home, we'll place you in that. And I found a family that fostered me. And so here I am, you know, Hollywood, the little icon, little cartoon character that people know as like the girl next door is now, I'm in a foster home and I'm living on the streets. And so the father of the foster home was having sex with the daughter, and his designs were I were next. And I said, no way. And I fought back, and I ended up moving out and living in Compton in a warehouse for 6 months, eating out of, trash cans. And I left this foster home. My dad didn't want me. My mother didn't want me. It's okay. I didn't want me either. I hated myself so much because I felt like I failed everybody and everything. And I thought God hated me, that I was, and, I was raised Catholic. So it was like, oh, so this is purgatory. Oh, got it. Check, and I just didn't feel worthy of even existing. So I lived in a warehouse. I met a boy, my first boyfriend. I thought, you're going to be my happily ever after, because I still believed in Disney. Newsflash, all bullshit. But, there is it's happily ever after right now. Right now. And I thought over there, I was going to be happy because I still had built this illusion that life was out there. And so I moved in with this boy. We lived in this warehouse for 6 months. We were allowed to live there from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then we had to get out because we had nowhere to go. And I sold pots and pans on the side of the highway in Atlantic and Artesia, and right on the border of Compton and North Long Beach. And, that's what I did. I was like, I don't need an education. I just need to learn the streets. And I did. I did a good job for the moments that I was there. And finally, a woman said to me, I got a job making drawers at a place and at a furniture factory. And she said, you're so smart. What are you going to do with that brain of yours? And I thought, I'm smart? Like, I hadn't heard this. This was like, it was like heroin to my soul. And I ended up getting a job at this furniture factory. And someone said, why don't you do something with your life? I said, I don't have and they said, why don't you there's this medical college. And I became an LVN. I lied and said my degree was in the mail back in the day when you can get away with it. It wasn't all digital. I was like, oh, it's in the mail. But I was a really great student because I had desire. Now I learned that the higher your desire is connecting to a higher frequency. No clue. All I know is if I focused on it, I could get anything I want. And so I ended up going to school, and things shifted and changes. But in the meantime, I'm still getting loaded, and I'm still doing heroin. I'm still eating acid. I'm doing anything to not be Hilary. And I end up moving into Venice. And, at this point, what you saw of me was nothing what I was going on inside. I hated myself. I was bulimic. I was throwing up 10 times a day because I didn't feel worthy of keeping food in me. I didn't feel worthy of love. I was attracting everything that I thought, meaning I was being raped. I had been raped 3 times by the time I got sober. I never talked about it because I'm not worthy. There was just so much shame and guilt. And like, I look back at this poor little girl that was so lost that, but for the grace, unmerited gifts of God, I was plucked out of there. And obviously God had a plan for me that said, you're going to help somebody else. We're going to get you out of your low self-esteem, self-centeredness. And today I get to do those things. What an amazing gift. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So I end up moving and moving. I'd moved 60 times by the time I got sober at 21. I was sitting on a fire escape. I had just done a bunch of downers, and I had been smoking coke at the time. And I went into a grand mal seizure. Now, the only time I prayed was for my mother to be killed, my father. I thought that's a prayer, right? Ask for what you want. Boom, you get it. And if not, oh, there's no God. Because I have this black and white thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Live, die, good, bad, good girl, bad girl. There's no gray zone whatsoever. And so I go into this grandma seizure, and I looked up and I said, I don't even know if you're there, but don't let me die. This was the first moment I realized I didn't want to go anywhere. I just didn't know how to live. I didn't know what it was like to have a relationship or have a job where you felt good about yourself without performing and trying to get. Make me feel good. Tell me I'm okay. Tell I'm pretty. Tell me I'm enough. Tell me, because I kept living hoping that someone would fix me. And I went into this grandma seizure. And when I said, God, I don't want to die, it stopped. Now, I would love to say, and then the walls parted and Florence Nightingale kicked in and bam, it didn't happen. You know, when the sunrise happens, there's a spit of light that comes through. And then a little bigger light comes through. And then it goes on until it's illuminated. My process of illumination has taken time. And it's probably going to take time for you guys too, whomever's listening. It doesn't happen all of a sudden. That's Disney. That was the illusion they gave us so we could keep feeling like we're not enough. Because if it doesn't happen right now, there must be something wrong with me. That's a lie. I'm here to tell you it's all a lie. That life isn't happening out there. Life is happening right in here. And you can't get that until you say, I'm done, uncle. I'm so exhausted, because my ego's going to try to keep me sustained. My ego's going to say, I'm amazing. I'm a piece of shit. You're incredible. I'm nothing. It keeps me moving. There's movement there. There's energy. I'm shifting energy. And until I say, I'm done, God, power other than me, because now my mind is my power.
Right.
My mind holds every memory, every hurt, every bad decision. And it speaks to me and says, this time is going to be different. I'm going to do it this way. Oh, this will do it. Oh, it's because of. So I'm operating from this hurt place. And I don't know how to get better. Because I've gone to you, I've gone to the school, I've gone to at this point, I went to art school, I went to massage school because I thought I was going to be a chiropractor and I was going to heal I was beaten. I thought maybe I'll take care of myself and I'll learn that touching can be kind. And then it didn't fix me. And then I went to nursing school. It didn't fix me. I thought if I fix you, you'll take care of me. It didn't fix me, and finally, when I hit my bottom on the fire escape is when my life opened up. That little teeny speck of sunrise kicked in. And I just got hungry for more. That's what God does to you. God gives you a little speck of, you want more. I became thirsty for feeling better, opposed to thirsty for not feeling. All of a sudden, it started shifting ever so slowly. All of a sudden is a bullshit word. That's another word. That's the spells that were giving us, spelling. It tells us all of a sudden. And if it doesn't happen, what happens? Man, what's wrong with me? Go straight to I hate myself. It's so incredible. Once you start opening, the discernment gets opened up. You're like, wow, this is real. So my life became, I got hungrier to have a new experience, feel better. I went through this, I left home, my brothers and sisters, nobody was talking, cut to the end as my father put a gun to his head. He couldn't deal with his stuff. My mother died homeless, at 61 years old, younger than I am today. My sister died of an overdose. My brother, unfortunately, died of AIDS, that epidemic. He was taken away from that. And He was the most incredible. He used to say to me, Hilary, you're not what you think you are. And I'd go, what are you talking about? And he goes, oh, you'll find out. And you know what? He was right. On his deathbed, he said to me, just remember, you already are love. You don't have to get it anywhere. And so I've been given the gift of all those little angels that keep coming in between. The woman who told me I was smart, the woman who I had taken 100 Valiums and she worked for the suicide prevention clinic on her part-time. And she drove by my house and said, I need to stop and say hi to Hilary. And she showed up my front door and gave me Epitech and it made me throw up. It's like, why do things like that happen? Because God, other than Hilary, has a different plan for my highest good, meaning the word enlighten means lightning. I need to rise above this bullshit, this hurt, anger and sadness and resentment and fear. Those are really heavy, heavy frequencies. And once I become enlightened, I lighten up. I go to a different level and just go, maybe when I'm in the in-between, I don't know, maybe could happen. I'm in the gray zone because black and whites are absolutes. How many times do you say, oh, I'm not going there. I'm not dating her. I mean, I'm sure, Patrick, you said that a couple of times. I'm not. And then all of a sudden you're like calling her up. Hey, what are you doing? You know, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to have that kid. I'm not going to marry that guy because I live in this polarity, duality, which is trauma. I'm not living. I'm in a reactive state constantly, trying to get over there, back there, be there, get away, go, get away, go. It's exhausting. I do that today and I go, God, please quiet my mind, protect me from my thinking. It's hurting me. Help me just be right here, right now. And I tap into this power that's already in me, which I call God. Yeah. But I can't get there until I get rid of all my ego. I decide that my wounded little self, I deserve to get healed. And I don't believe it, but I act as if. When they say bring the body, the mind will follow, you know, it's like, you don't want to go to school. It doesn't matter. Just show up. You'll like it. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I went to school today. I have such great friends. You hated yourself walking to school. But because you shifted your frequency, meaning you're into a different, the parallel lives is meaning you're just jumping. You're getting out of this, you're just jumping. And I've learned how to master my jumping, not because I'm a master, because I just tap into the frequency that created this mass. Atoms, molecules vibrate at a certain level. I become Hilary. You become Diana. You become Patrick. And once I realized I didn't create me, but I can use all that energy if I allow it to flow through me from the inside out. That's how I create the new movie. Instead of thinking I got to be okay to get over there, I call it the bouncing ball effect. You ever seen a kid on the beach, that little baby that's trying to get the big bouncing ball, the beach ball? Can't get so big, further and further. I spent my life like that. When I get that job, when I get that husband, when I get that money, when I lose that weight, life is not over there. Life is right here. How do I tap into that internal source? Well, I call it stabilizing. In trauma, I said you go to those 3 places until you pause. See, God gave us our senses: hearing, tasting, touching, seeing, smelling. Here they are. God said, here, go ahead, do what you want with these. I eat too much, I yell too much, I foul language, whatever I got to do, because everything I do has a consequence, cause and effect. But I'm waiting for the effect to make the cause. That's my funnel on backwards. Little do I know that God gave me said, hey, you can have anything you want if it aligns with me, because God's frequency is high. And everything, when you're in anger and fear and resentment and worry, that's a low. It's like, it's so heavy. Like I think about it when I'm in fear, I go, I tighten up, my body tightens up. Here are my senses. And then there's the sixth sense, which is that's that frequency that I'm trying to get to. But I need to stabilize all these first. So when I got sober, I no longer was drinking, using. I was no longer staying out all night. I was no longer selling my body. I was no longer giving it away. I started taking care of my senses, which stabilized me. Now, what happens when I'm stabilized? I feel safe. And that's what I'm starving for, is safety. That's why I kept going out, getting the guy, getting the job. But little did I know, my 16-year-old heroin addict boyfriend, though Mr. Captain, I used to say I was Captain Save-A-Ho for him, but he became Captain Save-A-Ho for me. But he literally, when he said to me, "Your funnel's on backwards," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You see life wrong." I got what he meant. I kept thinking my outside life was my life, but it's not. It's my inside life. You know, how do I get there? You know, and I love, Dana, I'm just going to pay homage to you because you're in Ramadan and you're fasting. How do you get there? You're going in, babe. You know,
Yeah.
other people go in different ways. You go in by direct access. Other people have to lose everything till they have to turn around and go back home. It's whatever you do. You know, some people meditate, some people crash and burn, then they find God. Whatever your way is your way. God's still going, "When are you coming home, girl? I'm waiting, baby. Come on, girl. Daddy's over here. I'm your daddy. He ain't your daddy. She ain't your daddy. I'm your daddy." And so I had all these incredible things happen. Like someone said to me, "How can you own that your rape was your fault?" I got to be 100% responsible for everything. Only then can I flourish. I'm not saying it was my fault the guy did it, but did I not set the ball rolling? Was I not in the wrong place? Was I not taking care of myself? Was I not wearing? I have to look at, I'm a part of this. I'm not a victim to my life. I'm a volunteer. And once I said, I volunteered for everything in my life, all of a sudden I was not angry at my mom anymore. Maybe I picked my mom because my mother and the outcome, it's like baking a cake. You put it all together, like it's never going to taste good. Oh, sweetheart, it's going to take a little time to cook. The soup is going to take a minute to cook. But the outcome is going to be glorious. But it needs all those ingredients. And I needed the rapes, I needed the overdoses, I needed the beatings, I needed to have a huge life as a child and lose it thinking that I never created it, that I was not enough. I had to find out that everything was inside of me. It wasn't because of my mom. It wasn't because of the school and the education and the money and the property it was none of that. It was already instilled in me. But as soon as I learned to make God more important, the gifts were given to me and I'm like, I don't want them. You can have it. If you see all the stuff I give away, when I get things, I'm like, oh, take it. Not because I'm not grateful. It's because I know there's more where that's coming from. It's just stuff. It's just shit. That's it. I came here with nothing. No thing. I came here with no clothes on. All I was given was the breath of life. God gave me a breath of life and said, "You're on, babe. Enjoy. You can blow it up. You're going to come back home to me in the end anyway." Nobody gets out of here alive. So in the meantime, let's try to make it as easy and godlike as possible. So when I submerge into that next level, that frequency, that afterlife, it's not a shock to me. I'm like, of course I'm going home. I know what home feels like. It's already here. So I end up going through all this stuff and I realized I want to go back to acting, but I had been Me Too'd. I had all that shit happen. Whatever. It happened to me and is not me. It wasn't me. It's just something that happened. the less I give attention to, the less I give power to. Like, I got to pick who my power is. Is it you? Is it the way you treat me? No, that's just stuff that happens. If I don't like what's happening to me, I need to shift in here because I'm a magnet. I'm just a homing device. I'm going to bring in everything I feel about myself. So then I realized I needed to start healing. I needed to start making peace with myself. I needed to, and I got this job at this hospital where John Bradshaw was running it. And yeah, what a gift. Learn how to reparent myself. I didn't like the word parent because I had bad parents. And I thought, God is my father. I want nothing to do with it. I had to shift and change the way I thought about it. Okay, I'm going to be the best stepmom or the best foster mother for little girl Hilary. And so I started doing things. When I make a mistake, I wouldn't go, oh, you're such an idiot. You're so fucking stupid. God, and then go eat or throw up. Or I started saying things like, oh, oopsie, honey. Oh, well, we all make mistakes. It's okay. You can go. So I started reparenting this little starving girl that was so hurt and so sad. And I started to make friends with her. And I know that God's in there. So I needed to tap into the source. And I would say, God, can you please help me be kind to myself? I don't know how. I've never been, I don't know how. And all of a sudden I started growing from the inside out. And as a result of that, my life started changing. I started bringing in nicer people because I stabilized my seeing, tasting, touching, hearing, smelling to where I was tapping into this almighty, all God source. Boom. And from there, I went back into the film industry and I went behind the camera and I've made like 350 movies. I graduated. I was just like, I retired as a script supervisor. Great. I got to play in magic and I got to see that life and to realize it wasn't serving my heart anymore. And I was like, okay, I think I'm complete. Went to art school, went to film school, went to nursing school. And I realized that I have this whole gift I have so much stuff inside of me because God's with me. So I could be anything I want. Like, I don't have to be one job. I don't have to be indoctrinated to be your good worker. It's like, no, I'm not. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. I'm creative, I paint. And I realized that I've been given so many gifts, just like every one of us has. But when we're looking on the outside, how can you see what's hidden in here? I get to say, God, help me see more about who I am, that you created me to be. And all of a sudden I'm going, oh, I think I'm going to help other women. Like, where did that thought come? Like, boom, gift, gift, gift. It's living in the present, the present, the present. And so, I graduated from that world and I allowed myself to go elsewhere. I've traveled. I've done so many things. I would say things to myself. I had my mentor, she said to me, where do you want to go? And I said, I was 20 something. And I said, I want to go as far as I can from Los Angeles. She says, all right, where? And I said, Australia. She goes, then go. And I said, I can't. She goes, why? I said, because I don't have enough money. We always got one of those because. And she said to me, Hilary, until you realize you're never, ever going to have enough, you better shut up and start living. And I was like, oh, what if I put that thought aside, that fear aside? I've been to 35 countries since then, because why not me? Like, God gave me everything, gift of wonder, excitement, gave me the gift of, he taught me how to save money. Like, everything was at my disposal. It was like, oh my gosh. So every day I trade, my saying is today is the best day ever. I get to create it as a result of that. And so, I'm at a place in my life where all I want to do is be of service and to help other women and men or what have you stabilize themselves with those senses, heal their own trauma with making friends with it, allowing yourself to tap into that source I call God. I don't want to be your God. I don't want to be your guru. I want to fix you. I'm not the all healer. I'm not the all doctor. I want to guide you to your God. And then I want to say, go girl, go guy, you got this. Because sometimes all we need is encouragement. And I've been given that over and over and over. And like I said, thank God I failed. Failure has been my greatest teacher. Making mistakes, misjudging, abusing myself. Like, wow, I got to realize I was killing the wrong person. Like, I want to kill the lies that were told to me. I want to kill the belief system. That's what I've killed. And as a result of that, I have a really good inside life. My life's changing all the time. I mean, our world is just imploding. But if I can observe it instead of become it, and to realize that this is all happening for a reason, I don't know it. I'm not the boss of me. I'm not the boss of the world. And just accept that, okay, I get to stay in the middle of that swing when I go, I don't know. Okay, maybe. Like, those are really soft feelings. And I feel it in my body. My body gets to heal when I take a breath and I stabilize. All of a sudden, I'm not tight. My jaw doesn't hurt. My stomach doesn't hurt. My scalp doesn't hurt. Because I'm realizing that I have the power within me. But I need all the distractions settled down. There's my senses. And when I allow myself to tap into that source, anything's possible. And it's not that important because anything's possible. So anyhow, it's been an incredible ride. I'm not done. Obviously, I'm still here. I'll be told when it's time to go. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to live the best day ever in the day I'm in. And I love helping people find that way. So thank you.
Well, like Hilary, first of all, I am going to say thank you for your transparency. Thank you for allowing us and entrusting us to share your story. And I know our audiences right now is sitting there listening back and just saying, what an incredible, powerful woman that lived through life, and you were able to maneuver and discover these things, and one of the things that I find the most beautiful thing is that you went through this journey and now you're out there coaching, helping others. And when you were talking about the frequencies, because I feel your frequency, you're high. You right now you're on a high frequency. And you dive into when you're coaching others that are in a low frequency. I want to ask you, and there are many people that are there because you have mastered the ability to not allow that frequency to impact you and pull you back down. And so there are people out there that are surrounding themselves in the low frequency. How do you, because you've mastered this, remain on your high frequency when you have to work with a people with a lot of low frequencies? You're guiding them and to get on that higher level. What keeps you stabilized? And I know that you talked about God, and that's that's the big thing. Are there techniques also that you use to maintain in your high frequency?
Yeah, there's all these little tricks, I've always been very curious, the study of religion. So I, got to dip into the Quran. I study Kabbalah, I study Buddhism, Hinduism, because we're all roads go to the same place. There's the big guy, and, Muhammad said it, Moses said it, Jesus said it, I am, therefore I am. Whatever you think, you create. So there's where we get to go, oh, they're trying to tell us that we've got it all inside of us. So when I'm in that low, like, oh, everything's bad, remember, whatever you think about, you bring about. Okay. God, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. And then you're eating a bag of Doritos. You're like, dude, I said I was going to eat it. What you think about, you bring about. I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. We're getting married. You think about it, right? I'm never going to get pregnant. I'm never going to, boom, I'm having twins. Whatever your thing is, what you think about, you bring about. What if I said to you, if God, that all power, all source that created you, because I know you didn't create yourself, is in you, that little chip of him, I call God a him because in energy, the yin and yang, there's the provider, the one that brings you safety, the provider, and then there's the receiver. The feminine energy is a receiver. Hence, the man has a dick and the woman has a vagina. Hello, makes sense. God had a plan. So you look at that, and if God is providing me, and I know it's in me, he's in me, why don't I think about what God would do? Like, God is happy, joyous, free. All right, why don't you get a pen and paper out right now and write down everything that makes you happy? I wrote it this morning when I got up. I was like, I love whipped cream. I love massages. I love the sound of children giggling. Oh my God, that's like so high. You get so high, kids playing. I love the ocean. I love the sound of birds. I start writing all these things that were not created by Hilary. So now I know there's a power greater than me, other than me, because I can be pretty powerful to blow my life up. But I'm going to tap into this higher frequency power. So I start thinking of all these wonderful things that I love. I've already risen above my depression. So I stay in that. I just keep looking at, now focus on, as Joe Campbell said, follow your bliss. There's all these, everybody's reinventing the wheel. Nobody's the number one. There's no such thing. Number one's God, period. We think we're number one because the ego is trying to play God. Boom. Hello. Wars are created by egomaniacs because they all think they're God. What if we focus on the good God, good things, and we allow ourselves to rise above? And as a result of that, I become a magnet. I'm gonna attract more things that make me feel good. Because remember, I think about, I don't want food. What happens? All of a sudden someone says, hey, you want to go to Del Taco? You want to go to McDonald's? You're like, okay, there's nothing else to eat. And then you feel like eating because you're probably eating children meat, but that's a different story. So, I sit there and I think, wow, how do I get out of this depression? Sweetheart, change your thought. Get a pen and pad out. The power of the sword, the word. Put it on paper. It's in every doctrine says the power of the word. The sword is the word. Everything's flipped. Words. Take the S and put it behind. Everything's an illusion. Everything is opposite. So write those words down. Write things that make you feel good and allow yourself to, when I take a breath, I arise. I'm enlightened. When I'm stuck, I'm heavy. So I put the happy things down on paper. Go there, start there. I love, just write everything you love. The power of the words, sword.
The almighty pen. Wow, the almighty pen.
Everyone's got, right, everybody, right, yeah. Power. There's power in that.
There's power, yes.
It's amazing. The other day I was like geeking out, telling my wife, I'm like, there's a squirrel outside. We have squirrels in the neighborhood. It's just so happy sitting in our yard. And I'm just like you said,
wow.
That's what I love. That's my highlight. That's my joy. And I didn't create the squirrel. I didn't.
No. I think about when I was a kid walking to the kindergarten, when it took me hours. It's because I was in wonder. I was seeing all God's gifts. I was petting the cats and the dogs and the horses and picking flowers and smelling them because I was in sense of wonder. I just left the womb. Where was I created? In God's environment. That was God. And I wasn't infiltrated with all the bullshit, hit by all these negative like EMFs, and you go on at the chemtrails on it. Nothing. I got to go away from that. I can't live on the outside. I have to rise from the inside out. And when I do that, I can create anything. You get to look at that beautiful squirrel. You can look at that squirrel and go, I got you, dude. Like all of a sudden you're mentally telepathy. You're communicating because now you're on a frequency. You're not on the outside. You're on an inside. You're tapping into that. That's what it goes, tap into your source. Electrical current. I'm tapping into God. AC/DC, I'm all over it. I am here. I am here. It's like you look at the churches and the temples and the mosques, they all have that pole that goes up. They're getting into that source. They're tapping into that. Hello, it's not decoration. It's by design. And it's up to us to hook up our internal antenna. Inward, not outward. Inward. And I do that by connecting to things that make me feel good.
And you're saying that, and I've had my own kind of deconstruction around Christianity, Bible. I'm married to a pastor's kid, but there's one scripture that has always just fascinated me. And I think just hearing your whole story has really given a new perspective. And I think it's in the book of Proverbs or Ecclesiastes where the writer says that God has put eternity in our heart.
100%. 100%.
Exploring that, how you're saying that within, that's where we can, you don't know because we look for the external. We're always looking for the external.
It's so funny because I always depict the Lord's Prayer. It's like that was a prayer, and even the Quran, they're all rewritten. And he even said, use something like this. He didn't say verbatim. That's when you do the prayers, you're like, what'd you say? I don't know. Right. But I say, our Father, who is protective, safety, take care of me, who art in heaven, which is in my heart. Heaven's my heart, inside out. It's our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be the kingdom come, will be done on earth and in heaven. So within is without. So it's my insides and my outsides, but I got to start from the source. A tree doesn't start from the leaves. A tree starts from the root. I need to tap into my root, my source. And it's not me. I'm just the body of the source. And the leaves is what happens on the outside. And if I can start seeing things like everything is, they say life is math, colors, taste, like frequent, like that everything is connected, literally, by energy. So if I can practice honing in, because God gave me, I am, therefore I am. God gave me that frequency to shift, align, create. Prayer, petition, that means I go to it, I ask for it, and then what is it? Thanksgiving. Thank you. I claim it as is. That's the power. I don't go, oh my God, when I get over there. Over there doesn't exist, and you're never going to get there. When I get married, when I lose weight, that shit, it's not real. That's the illusion. Life is not out there. That's why when I see all this crap going on, I just go, this is just a fucking movie. I'm going to be out. I'm not here forever. Whew, dude. You know what? You chose your path. I chose my path. If it happens, who cares? It's like I no longer give power out there. I practice in the day I'm in. When I feel that I start attack. That's an attachment. Oh, there's an attachment. I just practice going, help me let go, God. Help me get into your source. Help me get into your energy. And then I go, oh, that's okay. And then once I let go, it's like a wave. It comes back.
Wow. And then I'm there's so much. It's this. I should have got a bigger notepad.
That's awesome.
God, yes. And this is all coming from, and I don't even know if we introduced that part, but this whole journey started when you were voicing Sally with Peanuts,
Right,
Charlie Brown
right.
sister, and that
When I
started
was,
the journey
yeah,
to,
yeah.
I mean, everything
When
you
I was being
therapy.
somebody else, what you wanted me to
Oh,
be.
exactly.
There it is.
When I was putting a
Exactly.
mask on, when I was a character, a
Good night.
cartoon that you couldn't touch, taste, feel, hear. It wasn't real.
When you were someone else. And how many people out there,
Oh
CEOs,
my
business
God, they're
owners.
trying to be someone else when I get there, when I get there, when I get.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
it doesn't fucking exist. Let it go. Let it. It is not real. Let it go.
Wow. That's freedom right there. That could set the nation free.
It's
There
not
has
going to
been,
happen. Everybody's got to be king. Everyone wants to be queen.
yeah,
They all want to be
capitalist
God. They all
people.
want to be God. They all want to be
Yeah.
God. Everybody wants to be God. I call them big dick daddies. Whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever. Oh, God bless you.
Yeah.
God bless you. Not me bless you. God bless you. I don't forgive you. God forgives you. I don't forgive me. God for it's already done. And so it is right here, right now.
Yeah.
But we think we have power. Illusion, power of the sword, the words. I always
Words.
break every I talk sometimes I catch myself like I know God's talking through me a lot of times because I break things down. I'm like, dude, where the fuck did I come with that? I
Mm.
didn't. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, right? And then I'm agreeing with you, not because I'm saying I'm amazing. I'm like, dude, thank you for letting that out. Shit, I needed to see that today.
Mm.
Wow. God,
That's
it's good.
that is powerful.
It's very powerful. Like we are vessels and and instruments.
Oh,
And when it
totally.
happens, we're like, and I know exactly what you're talking about because when it happens, it's like, where did that come from? And then you realize, of course, I know where it's coming from. And
Thank you.
thank you. It's like, because that's a blessing that I'm your instrument, that
Oh, thank you, God.
yeah,
Thank you. I get
yes.
excited. And as a result, I attract more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get it? You know, think of that word in, stroll. I meant to stroll. I meant to go. In, stroll, meant.
Mm.
Break words down. Like,
Break it.
whoa,
No,
wow,
this
break
yeah,
it down. Whoa, why
powerful.
not? Why not?
Mm. There's so much, and I want our listeners to, for anybody who might just be listening to this on a whim, this is about owning yourself, owning your the power that you have. And I'm just because you went through a lot of this, if you're out there and you
Mm.
you have been taken advantage of, you've been sexually assaulted, you've been
Oh,
abused,
we've had
you've
it all.
taken
Yeah.
that, stand up, speak up. There's power in your words. There's forgiveness, but there's also a hell of accountability that is
There
that's
is no victim, volunteer.
yeah,
Victim.
the
Let go of
volunteer.
that. Let it go. There's so much power in not being a
You have that
victim. Oh my
power.
God, you
You
have
have
so
that
much.
power.
Saying, I forgive you. Oh, you know, when I was when I went through this whole thing, it was about 25 years ago, and I had this mentor that said, man, until you forgive your mother, your life is not going to change. Like I had grown on the outside, but I was still dying inside.
Mm.
Mm.
And, he said to me, you've got to forgive her. So I went down to the beach and, I put my mother's ashes at the ocean. Got to give your down the street from my house. You got to keep your enemies close, I used to say. Ha ha ha. So I kept them near my house and I went down and I sat down and I written this really long letter about everything that I did in retaliation to this woman. Like I had to look at how I mirrored how ugly she was and what she was doing. It was
Mm.
because of that's a mirror. Everything that's happening to you, you're doing. If you think they're an asshole, you're an asshole.
Mhm.
If they're a thief, you're a thief. You may be stealing their serenity. You're a thief. If you're a
Mhm.
liar, if they're a liar, you're lying to yourself. you're a liar. So you got to look at everything that's happening to you, because you're a manifestation of what's going on the inside is the outside. So I had to look at my stuff and I said, "Oh, Mom, you broke my arm." My mom didn't take me to the doctor when my arm got broken. So what did I do in return? I broke her arm and I told her, "See, how's it feel not to go to the hospital?" I became everything I hated, and I had to own that. So I go down and I'm living in Los Angeles. I'm living in Santa Monica, and I have to go underneath Pacific Coast Highway. And I got my backpack and water, and you, me, and God, we're going to go down to Mom and we're going to have a long conversation. Like I already I'd set the energy. I was like, okay, God, I want to see everything. I want to see who I really am instead of this illusion of who I think I am. I'm smart. I'm nice. I'm an idiot. I'm mean. I'm resentful. I'm sneaky. I'm a bitch. I'm a controller. I get back at you. I have to own all this shit. Like I am not as, oh, Hillary, poor Hillary. No, no. I'm decisive. I'm manipulative. Oh yeah, I gotta look at. I'm just owning it. I'm like, I am, therefore I am. Bingo. There's my power. So I go ahead and I walk underneath Pacific Coast Highway, and I have this long conversation with God, my mom, and myself, and I'm really seeing this character that I had created in the day I'm in because of reaction, because of fear. There's a lot of becauses, but with the because that's what that word means. Because I caused it. There it is. So I go ahead and I look at myself, and all of a sudden I feel I feel lighter. I'm like, wow, God, like I'm not mad at Mom anymore. My mom didn't want to do that stuff. She had mental illness. She was an alcoholic. She was sexually abused by her father. She was trying to figure out who she was. She was living in her lower frequency. Of course, she's going to give me only things that she has. She only has shit to give. She gave it. Thank you, Mom, but I no longer want it. Thank you so much. But I don't want to receive those lies anymore. Thank you so much, though, Mom. And so I was able to let this go, and I felt like $1 million. And, I went and I turned around to go back underneath the freeway. And in the time that I was sitting there with my mother and God, someone had spray painted on the wall going back underneath the PCH. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. God is my witness. I looked at it, it was in gold spray paint. It was still wet. And I thought, fuck, I can have a different perception of my childhood. Now I had the best childhood ever. It's never too late to have, like, I'm allowed to receive happy thoughts. Like, I'm allowed to have a good experience. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. I'm a victim. It happened to me. My life is sucked. It's because of I'm Black, I'm white, I'm rich, I'm poor. I can erase that all. Like, I get to choose. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. So every day I go, today's the best day ever. I get to be this happy, joy, freeful, playful little girl that I was. It's great power.
That is power. That is great power. Taking back control. And that's, yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's what happens. For people that have had traumatic experiences in their childhood, they don't think that they can go back and comfort that child, and also that painting, that spray paint that was there, you know.
Oh yeah.
You can change the narrative. You can change the narrative. You can change that
And
and
look,
focus.
and think about that was there, my sight. I got to see something different. My senses started simmering down. So now I have a different perception. I think differently. I smell differently. And that year I tripled my income because I realized that was a lie. I wasn't successful because of her. That was the illusion. My illusion was smashed. How awesome. And then it wasn't that important. It was like, oh, great, because it over there was already right here. So it just shifted from the inside out, and then my outside's totally.
Mm.
You have left us. I mean, there's so much like, and when I started off saying that there's so many layers, I was not kidding. There are so many layers and so many messages and so many golden nuggets and so many lessons. Like, it's hard to believe that in this short period of time that we've been talking, we were able to unpack, and there's still more. I know that there's so much more. Like this is like a whole series of episodes.
Just want to go to a coffee shop and start like digging into every little thing you're
Yeah.
talking about, unpacking
That's
it.
funny.
But
Thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah,
It's so
no, you
nice to be
planted
able.
seeds. There's
I
seeds.
hope
These are
so.
just
I
seeds.
hope so. I just, I hope so. I hope I have helped another human being find out that they're not what they thought they were. Isn't that great? It's so awesome.
it's awesome.
It's all
Um,
bullshit.
it-
It's so
That
awesome.
needs to be a
yeah,
t-shirt. It's just like all shit. It's
It's all
it's,
bullshit. It's all bullshit.
it's, um, Hilary, I know that our listeners, if they want to follow you, I don't know, to contact you or reach out, or if you have anything like any motivational material out there that they can reach out and
Well, I always leave myself open. I am a life coach. A trauma healing life coach. I do have, 6, 12 weeks. And like I said, I do it to get you back to you, back to God. But I also have a website. You can go to HilaryMombergerPowers.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. But you can always contact me through my website where we could have a conversation. We can set up an appointment. Either I can send you somewhere because I'm not God, but I can direct you towards if I don't connect with you or you don't connect with me. I'm not guru. Let's do it. Like I want to help you emerge. And if I can do that with you, let's work together because I just love seeing the lights go on. It's just incredible. And then I'm going to show you how to have the lights go on because I want to show you how to pass your gift of God on.
love that. I love that. And so I am going to be adding all your detailed information. So when we
Okay.
make your live in the description so that people can reach out that way as well.
Okay. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And so I want to thank you. I mean, this has been such an incredible conversation that we had. And if I was there, Hillary, I would be doing like the happy dance with you. I would be like, and this is Patrick's lane because he loves to dance, and I'd be like moving, and then I would just give you a tremendous big hug and
Mm.
and saying thank you for giving us the message. And if you have like one last final thought, one last final message to our audience, is there anything? I mean, you gave us so much, but if there's anything that's just right now, a light bulb or something
I
going on.
always say if you're feeling horrible right now, fantastic. Because if you're hitting bottom, guess what? The only place to go is up.
Oh, I love that. Thank
I
you.
So
have to
if you
do I
feel
need to
like,
send this to. Oh, I need
my friends, there's a couple of women, I'm like, oh, she's like, my life is horrible. And I'm like, that's fucking amazing. Isn't that great? You're going to give up on you. You're going to go to something other than you, a power that's so much greater. I hope you find them.
Love that. I love that. For our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Please, please, please share this video if someone needs to hear this today. And I know there's plenty people out there that need to hear this message. So please share it, like it, comment it. Like let's blast it and make it like all over social media because I know these are powerful words and words make a difference. And like always, I'm gonna now pass over the mic
Oh,
to,
yeah.
yeah.
No, yes. Find us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, anywhere, and tag your favorite CEO so they can hear this. They can see through the BS and they can see the illusion. But
Mm.
thank you again, Hillary. This
Thank
this
you.
was
I
gold. This
really
was
appreciate
treasure.
it.
This was like ice water. coffee, your favorite black dark roast. This was exactly what we needed, and I know our listeners needed. So thank you all for tuning in. Find us
Thank
out there, lifeinbetweenpodcast.com. Until we meet again, remember, it's all an illusion.
you. It's all
Exactly.
peace and love.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Awesome.